Everybody, it's me, Andrew. Get out into nature and tune in for yourself. Resonate with the Earth's electromagnetic field via 432 hertz, the universal frequency. Balance out psychologically and emotionally, and further strengthen your brain and your heart's coherence as well. Get a plant based diet going for yourselves today and nurture yourself right back into life. We are literally herbivores in our nature. Further balance out your physical body's pH level and to get with alkalinity. Then you can generate some static electricity. Send me some love telepathically. Set attention to your mind and set intention to communicate. That is all there is to telepathy. You are now tuning in to great days. So today I'm going to talk on bliss and bliss being natural result of expanding awareness and living in awareness, right? Rather than being conscious, rather than compulsion. So bliss coming from conscious living. Okay, so let's get right into this. Um, so bliss is pretty much a state of an emotional sweetness, right? So when you're in a very, very sweet emotional state, you're in a state of bliss. Okay, when nothing can really put you off your center, when you're like really, really super sweet, when you're very, very emotionally tender, and you just can't show any type of malice. You're just in a blissful state. um, this is a natural state for each and every one of us. And if you take a look at animals, um, if they're not tampered with or they're not like threatened or anything in their natural habitat, animals are very, very blissful, right? Because they're in tune with things, and there's no reason for them to be in a miserable state. So animals are naturally joyful, and if you want to say they're even further than joyful, then they're blissful. Um, but if you go on and tamper with them, if you start to mess with the animal and you start to put them in cages and whatnot, um, then you find animal suffering, but bliss can come into your life. You can realize the state of bliss, and it can actually keep you above any type of suffering, you know, because it's consciousness. Bliss and consciousness are very synonymous. So the reason for this is because when you start to become aware, the roots of all fear and any type of unconscious or any type of lower malicious energies are transmutated into a lighter heartedness, and within the lighthearted state, you are in a blissful state. So you you then come to understand once you start coming into a blissful state more often that it comes with consciousness, right? So you're compulsive or you're conscious. If you do things on compulsion, then it makes more room for suffering to take place, right? Because when you're doing things out of compulsion, um, it doesn't allow you to respond to things, but you're in a reactive state. You're literally just reacting to something compulsively, because it's causing a reaction within you, because you're not conscious of whatever it is that you are reacting to. You're pretty much you're allowing it to get you off of your center, and this can cause maybe misery, or even like annoyance or whatever it may be, something that is going to put you off of your bliss. But when you are conscious, whenever you respond to anything in life with a little bit of space, patience, and even resonance in a conscious way, you can understand it more. you know, and because you're able to understand it more often or very, very easily, because you're able to understand it easily because you're allowing the space and you're allowing your own response to take place, there's naturally a bliss that is going to arise in you because it changes that reaction to a response, you know. So so conscious, being conscious is literally synonymous with being blissful, and the more consciousness you have, the more bliss you have. So the higher you, or the deeper you go into the dimensions of consciousness, the deeper the bliss is going to arise in you. Okay, this is very, very, very vital, and everybody already has this, right? So it's all about self-realization. All you got to do is come into the self-realized state, which comes with watching yourself more often, observing yourself, and going within yourself, right? Is where you start the process of self-realization, and then you start to shed all the things that you learned, you know, the conditionings and whatever it may be, the programs that you picked up. As you start to go in yourself, you start to distance yourself from who you've identified yourself with and who you actually are, which is consciousness. And then the deeper you go into this process, the more that you see as you begin to expand or dive into the dimensions of awareness, that you're left with bliss, right? And that's all there is, because on a deeper level, we know as Godhead or as a omniscient being that everything that brings about a malicious state or whatever it may be that's keeping you out of a bliss is an illusion. Is an illusion. You know, it's not real. Uh, and the nature of existence is illusory. So because of that fact, because of the nature of it, naturally a bliss is able to arise. You know, because everything is pretty much just space. You know, they've said that everything is 99.9999% space, right? And that little 1% is the matter. Um, so then that scientifically is proved that everything is pretty much just space and nothing actually exists. You know, so science has already proved this. And because of that fact, that is why bliss arises. You know, because nothing exists. It's a dream, right? And that's the truth of it. It is a dream. Um, and because we don't exist, there's nothing to fear ever, because the only thing to that we actually fear as egos is the unknown, and death is the source of the unknown for the ego. And once you understand that there is no death, then the fear of the unknown and the fear of death ceases to be, right? So there's nothing left after that. Just love and consciousness, awareness. Um, and you are then able to immersify yourself in the experience ever so saturatedly, because you're then able to be conscious of it rather than just allowing things to slip you by like a forgotten dream. You know, when you sleep, when you're dreaming, a lot of times the dreams, they are kind of just vague and distorted, and they're not so lucid unless you're a lucid dreamer. But if you're having dreams that are just slipping you by, they're kind of just vague, right? And you don't really get them, um, and you don't really pay attention to them. But the more that you are, the more that you're aware in the dream, the more vivid it gets, right? And the better the dream gets, because you're actually more aware of it. And life is the same thing. So if you're more attentive, or if you're more conscious within your life, the dream, instead of slipping you by very vaguely and distorted and and unworthwhile, it kind of just gets more saturated and potent and more vivid, and it goes deeper and deeper, and it gets very, very good, because the shift of awareness, it shifts everything. And because of that shift, the potency is developed, or it's realized, because the potency is already there. It just needs to be realized with the shift of awareness. So because of that shift, and the fact that you're able to immersify yourself in the experience totally with the shift of awareness, you a bliss arises, or you are able to realize the bliss within you is already there, right? Because the bliss is already there. You just got to realize it, right? You got to touch upon it, and it's a beautiful, beautiful state to be in, the blissful state. Okay, but that's gonna be it for today's video. I do thank everybody for watching once again. Peace out, one love, and have a great evening.